One of these looks like the beaches of the Caribbean. One looks like the sand dunes of the Sahara. One is a German village straight out of Bavaria. One is a slice of the Tuscan countryside. And one is a jungle grotto you would swear was in Thailand. But here's the thing. You will not need a passport to see any of them. You will not even need to leave one single state, because every one of these places is in Texas. Today we are counting down 10 spots across Texas that look like they belong in a completely different country, all the way to a desert oasis at number 1 with water so blue and so clear you will think someone airlifted the Caribbean into West Texas. No passport, no plane, just Texas. Number 10. Caddo Lake on the far eastern edge of Texas. We begin somewhere that looks nothing like the wide-open Lone Star State you picture, and everything like the deep swamps of Louisiana. Caddo Lake sprawls across more than 25,000 acres right on the Texas-Louisiana border, and it is one of the only natural lakes in the entire state. Formed long ago when a massive log jam on the Red River backed up the water and flooded the lowlands. What makes it unforgettable is the forest growing straight out of the water. Dense stands of towering, bald cypress trees, their branches draped in long, ghostly veils of Spanish moss. Between them winds a maze of dark, mirror-still bayous and sloughs, a labyrinth so tangled that paddlers follow marked canoe trails to find their way, past herons, turtles, and even alligators. Rent a kayak or take a guided boat tour at dawn, and glide through a green tunnel of moss-hung cypress as the mist rises off the black water and an alligator slips silently off a log. It is hauntingly beautiful, and you will completely forget you are in Texas. That is the bayou. The next one is a little slice of Germany. Number 9. Fredericksburg in the Hill Country. About 80 miles from both Austin and San Antonio in the rolling hills of central Texas, sits a town that feels like it was picked up in Bavaria and set down in the middle of Texas. Fredericksburg was founded back in 1846 by German settlers, and it has held tight to that heritage ever since, drawing more than 1 million visitors a year. Stroll down its historic Main Street and you pass German bakeries, old stone buildings with genuine old-world charm, and beer gardens where a band plays while the beer flows. This is a place of bratwurst and schnitzel and sauerkraut, of Oktoberfest and Wurstfest, where you can sit in a classic Munich-style beer garden at a spot like the Altdorf with a stein in hand. Wander through the Pioneer Museum's collection of historic settler buildings, browse the shops around the Marktplatz, then grab a plate of schnitzel and a cold German lager as the accordion starts up. It is pure Bavaria right up until someone says y'all. That is Germany. The next one is the Grand Canyon, Texas style. Before we get to number 8, if you would rather see the whole world without the passport, the plane, or the price tag, hit subscribe. This channel is your map to a Texas nobody believes is real. Number 8. Palo Duro Canyon, up in the Texas Panhandle. As you drive south from Amarillo across flat, featureless prairie, the ground suddenly splits open into an enormous gorge of banded red rock, and the locals do not exaggerate when they call it the Grand Canyon of Texas. This is the second largest canyon in all of America, carved by a fork of the Red River, roughly 120 miles long and over 800 feet deep, its walls layered in deep red, orange, and tan. You can drive right down onto the canyon floor on a road the Civilian Conservation Corps built back in the 1930s, hike among the towering formations, and stand beneath the lighthouse, a slender 300-foot spire of rock that has become the symbol of the whole park. In summer, an outdoor musical about the state's early settlers plays against the canyon walls under the stars. Camp down on the canyon floor, then stand on the rim at sunset as the light sets those red cliffs on fire, and you will swear you took a wrong turn into Arizona. That is Arizona in Texas. The next one trades canyons for canals. Number 7. The San Antonio Riverwalk. In the heart of downtown San Antonio, one level below the busy streets, a river winds quietly through the city, and along both banks runs a network of stone walkways, arched bridges, and cypress trees that has earned it a famous nickname, the Venice of Texas. It now rambles more than 15 miles from the museums of the north all the way down to the old Spanish missions in the south, but the historic downtown stretch is the magic one. Down here, the traffic disappears. Instead, you find cafes and restaurants spilling right up to the water's edge, string lights glowing overhead and long, flat-bottomed river barges gliding beneath the bridges. carrying passengers just like the gondolas of Venice. Climb aboard one of those boats at dusk, drift under a stone archway as the sunset reflects off the water, and mariachi music drifts from a riverside patio, and Italy suddenly does not feel so far away. No passport, no plane, just Texas. The next one is the Sahara. Number 6, Monahans Sandhills back out in West Texas. Just off the interstate, the scrubby desert abruptly gives way to something astonishing. A vast sea of pale, wind-sculpted sand dunes rolling all the way to the horizon, some of them nearly 70 feet tall, exactly like a corner of the Sahara transplanted to Texas. These nearly 4,000 acres of dunes are alive, constantly shifting and reshaping themselves with the wind, so the landscape is never quite the same 2 days in a row. And here is the best part. You are allowed to play on them. Rent a sand disc or a board from the park headquarters, climb to the crest of a tall dune, and surf your way down the slope. Then stay after dark because out here, far from any city lights, the desert sky explodes with stars. Kick off your shoes, run up a ridge of warm sand with nothing but golden dunes in every direction, and it feels like you have wandered into the middle of North Africa. That is the Sahara. The next one is the Great Red Rock of Australia. Number 5. Enchanted Rock in the Hill Country. Rising up out of the green Texas hill country all by itself is an enormous dome of solid pink granite, and the moment you see it, your brain reaches for one comparison: Uluru, the Great Red Rock in the heart of Australia. Enchanted Rock climbs 425 feet above the surrounding land, part of a vast underground mass of granite, one of the largest formations of its kind in the country, and it has been considered sacred by native peoples for thousands of years. There is even a little magic to it. On cool nights, the rock creaks and groans as it slowly contracts. The strange sounds the old legends once turned into ghost stories. The main thing to do is climb it up the steep, bare curve of the summit trail to sweeping 360-degree views of the hill country. And because this is a certified dark sky spot, the stargazing from the top is unreal. Stand up there at sunset as the whole massive dome glows warm pink and orange beneath your feet, and it could be the Australian outback. That is Uluru. The next one is a tropical jungle. Number 4, Hamilton Pool, just west of Austin. Thousands of years ago, the roof of an underground river cavern collapsed, and what it left behind looks like it belongs in a rainforest, not in central Texas. This is a huge sunken stone grotto, a half-dome of limestone dripping with ferns, moss, and hanging stalactites wrapped around a pool of cool, jade-green water. And spilling over the lip of that overhang, a 50-foot waterfall pours down into the pool below. It is the kind of lush, green, secret oasis you would expect to hike to deep in the jungles of Thailand or Costa Rica, with cliff swallows darting through the spray. A short trail leads down through the cedar and oak to the water, and because the place is so fragile and so popular, you now need a reservation to get in. Swim out into that jade water, feel the chill off the cold spring. Look up at the waterfall tumbling over the fern-covered rim, and you would never guess the dry hill country is sitting right above you. No passport, no plane, just Texas. The next one is the rolling hills of Tuscany. Number 3. The Texas Hill Country wine country out around Fredericksburg. The same rolling hills that hide at German villages and granite domes hide something else you would not expect: a genuine wine country that looks a lot like Tuscany. Along a stretch of Highway 290 and the roads around it wind more than 70 wineries, their vineyards striping the hillsides in neat green rows, past peach orchards and fields of lavender. Many of the tasting rooms are built in a distinctly Tuscan and Mediterranean style, all warm stone and shaded terraces, like Grape Creek with its Italian-inspired estate. Spend an afternoon hopping from one winery to the next, a glass of local red in hand, the oaks and vineyards rolling away toward the horizon. Settle onto a stone terrace at golden hour, a Texas Tempranillo in your glass, the vines glowing in the low sun and the hills turning gold. And it is the Italian countryside minus the transatlantic flight. That is Italy. The next one is a canyon on the border of Mexico. Number 2, Santa Elena Canyon in Big Bend, at the far southwestern tip of Texas. Out where the state runs up against the Rio Grande, the river has carved a canyon so deep and so sheer, it stops you in your tracks. Sheer limestone walls rise more than 1,500 feet straight up out of the water, and here is the remarkable part. This canyon is the border itself. One of those towering cliffs stands in the United States. The other, just across the narrow river, is Mexico. You reach it on the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive, then hike a short trail right into the mouth of the canyon, wade a shallow creek, and stand with 1 foot in Texas, gazing up at a wall of Mexico, or paddle a canoe down the Rio Grande with those immense walls closing in on both sides. Elsewhere in the park, you can catch a little rowboat across the river to the tiny Mexican village of Boquitas for lunch. And when night falls over Big Bend, one of the darkest skies in the entire country fills with more stars than you have ever seen. No passport, no plane, just Texas. Number 1. Balmorhea in the middle of the West Texas desert. This is the one that breaks people's brains. Out here, hours from anywhere, surrounded by nothing but flat brown scrubland and distant mountains, sits a pool of water so clear and so impossibly turquoise that it looks like a lagoon in the Caribbean. This is Balmorhea State Park, home to the largest spring-fed swimming pool in the world, hand-built by the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 1930s. Deep underground, San Solomon Springs push millions of gallons of fresh, clear water up into the pool every single day, keeping it a cool 72 to 76 degrees year-round and a gorgeous aquamarine that shifts to jade in the light. And it is not just for looking. The water is so clear and deep enough that you can put on a mask and snorkel, or even scuba dive right there in the desert, swimming alongside fish and turtles, including a tiny endangered pupfish that lives nowhere else on Earth. Float on your back in that glowing turquoise water, the bone-dry desert shimmering all around you, and you truly will not believe you are still in Texas. The Caribbean, it turns out, was hiding in West Texas the whole time. So there it is. Without ever crossing a border or boarding a plane or spending a fortune, you can stand in the Caribbean, the Sahara, a German village, the Tuscan hills, and the Australian outback, all inside one single state. That is the wild secret of Texas. It is so enormous and so varied that it quietly holds pieces of the entire world, scattered across its deserts and hills and bayous, waiting at the end of an ordinary drive. No passport, no plane, just Texas. So the next time you find yourself dreaming of somewhere far away, pull out a Texas map instead, and go find the corner of the world hiding in your own backyard. And if you would rather travel like this than follow the crowd, give this video a like and subscribe, and I will keep finding these places for you.